Premier League primetime on tape. Jose, Cyrus, and Andre. And you know that Daveye don't play. In the field, they can talk about it all day. Look, and we moving up. You can try all you want, can't move like us. When it all comes down, they choosing us. And I do gotta say, we don't give a fuck. Premier League primetime, and it's only that. Speak only facts. Say what I want, can't hold me back. Can't hold me back. Premier League primetime, better yet, it's my time. You stay on the sideline. Say what I want, can't hold me back. Premier League primetime.
Hello and welcome back to Premier League Primetime, and I am here with a very special guest. He is here on season 1 to rave about how wonderful the Mourinho masterclass was of Tottenham Hotspur when they beat Arsenal by 2-0. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Kota. How are you doing, my friend? How is your
good? I don't know if I'm a legend, but we'll hope that Spurs will be past the legend, and hopefully we'll continue what we always try not to do. But yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure, and I've been, and for the audience, I've been wanting to see this guy come back for a while, but this man's been busy making a career for himself. Playing, finding different teams in Europe, hopefully, man, my guy will find, a team in January to, that'll pick him up, Kota's coming in, like his idol, Heung-min Son,
yes, sir.
down the wing,
Yeah, it's really funny because everybody back here all over Europe, they all call me Sonny. And I'm not even Korean, but I mean, I'm like, hey man, it's a great comparison. I don't mind it. And he's one of my favorite players. Plays for my favorite team, so I don't mind the comparison at all.
I wonder why that'd be the first thing that they decide to call you, bro. But anyways, into the topic of the show, of course, the one and only Tottenham Hotspur. What can I say? Strong start to the season. And then in the last 4 games, they've just been, I'm not going to lie, they've just been shit the last 4 games. But what have your thoughts been in regards to last season? Like, what's different to this season, or what's different from this season to last season? And let's just start with just the managers and the tactical approaches. I mean, Jose Mourinho and Nuno Espirito Santo, there's not a whole lot different there, but there are some differences. Would you say that you've noticed very, very different management styles in the way that they're playing, or would you say no, it's pretty similar?
It's pretty similar. I would probably even go to the point where I thought it was boring last season. It seems a lot more boring, even more boring this season, and I didn't know it could get any boringer than that. Yeah, I just overall for me, that's not really like the type of football that I necessarily like to watch. But at the beginning of this season, a result was a result. I wasn't complaining about us being at the top of the table, but I knew, as a Spurs, something was eventually going to happen. One thing led to another. And all of a sudden we play Arsenal and they're ahead of us. So, and they're at the bottom of the table. So,
I think the results came before the North London derby. I mean, Crystal Palace concedes 3. Can you concede 3 goals? Chelsea, you concede another 3 goals. Arsenal, you concede another 3 goals. Beating Villa by 2-1. Great performance. Grinded out the win in what looks like classic Mourinho fashion. I mean, what are your thoughts on Nuno? Do you rate him as a manager? Was he your first choice personally? And if he wasn't your first choice, who was your first choice manager to come into Tottenham? Was it all the rumors with Antonio Conte? Was it maybe a Graham Potter, Brendan Rodgers, even a Gennaro Gattuso, Paulo Fonseca? Who were you most interested in seeing come in and take this Tottenham team forward?
Yeah, I mean, Nuno, when I heard about Nuno, I mean, I wasn't whole that excited, but you also look at the grand scheme of just the coaches that are available right now. And I mean, you don't have a whole lot of managers that, I guess, other than Mourinho, that you will be kind of excited about. Um, what was the guy's name, the Italian guy's name?
Antonio Conte. They
Yes,
were
him.
in serious negotiations for him, but
Yeah, so I heard about that, and I know he had a great track record about that. So,
he was willing
and
to
it
take the
looked like
job.
right. I think it was like pretty much gonna be finalized, and at the last second, like pulled out of it. So just kind of pretty
Because
confusing.
it was the lack of investment for Conte, and we all know how wonderful Ebenezer Scrooge, or as I call Daniel Levy, is with money. Loves to spend lots of money, and Conte, as we know, he will kick and scream and whine and have temper tantrums if he's not given all the backing that he needs and the players that he personally demands all of his first choices. He will have a moan about it. Did at Chelsea, did at Inter, and yeah, ended up just not fully coming through. Was Conte your first choice, or were you looking at someone else?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I thought that was a really good choice, and then ended up like I think like after that fell through, like the club just kind of settled on Nuno. Um, but he also had a decent track record what we did with Wolves, and so yeah, I was just kind of saying, like, okay, like we'll see how it goes. That's pretty much my thoughts.
No, 100%. And shifting next into just the defending. Since I'd say roughly mid-season of last season till now, largely the defending has just been shambolic, to sum it up.
I think that's an very light way to say it.
Extremely lightweight. And I mean, you're not only a player, but a coach in the making. I mean, I think I'd rather have you as Manchester United's manager than our current manager right now, because you probably play a certain Dutchman a little more. I honestly can't be asked, and this is a Tottenham show, not a Manchester United show. But using your tactical know-how and what you've seen and how you read the game, what is just going on with Tottenham's defending? Because as you said, it's shambolic. I mean, that's a nice way to say it. What about the personnel? What do you notice about the personnel? Like, do you like the personnel this season, or you think last season's was better, or are there elements from both that you like and dislike?
Yeah, for me, just the play style that I guess Mourinho or Nuno plays, it's very defensive oriented, yet we concede a lot of goals. So if they're going into a game plan being defensive oriented, I I don't assume it's anything tactically. I think it's more so of like it's how would I say, it's like the character or the mindset of the players. I think it's right. When I see them play, there's no flair, there's no wantingness to win tackles. Like I just don't see that. I don't see like as a Spurs player, I don't see that they have pride in wearing that shirt ultimately. And after I think 3 consecutive losses, I think they started to kind of like they had their backs against the wall. They're like, oh, we need to start fixing it. But usually at that time, it's like it's a wake up call, right? So like, why not fix it even before you get a wake up call?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think it's anything tactically. They play at the highest level. They know what to do. It's just more so themselves in a mindset standpoint, right? Are you willing to do what you need to do and put your all, give it your all.
No, 100%. And going into that, and as you were specifically talking about just the players themselves, and do you think, I know you were mentioning mindsets and that there, but do you think also that some of the players there, both far this season, last season, are just simply not good enough because, if you're asking me, I think in terms of the defense that Tottenham has, I think there are good enough and I think can carry them either now or to the next level. There aren't a whole lot, but just going through, you don't have to name everyone, but who would be some of the defense, goalkeepers aside, because Lloris has actually largely had a very good season. I personally, in my opinion, I'm impressed with Golini and what he can do. I think what he can become, I think he can become something very, very special for Tottenham if they choose to activate his buyout clause from Atalanta. But looking at the players that they have now, who would be some of the players that you'd say, yeah, definitely, yeah, he's good enough, or just needs time, or just had a series of bad games? And who would be the players that are just like, no, not good enough?
Yeah, I think both wingbacks. I was really surprised with Tanganga. I just really like the way he's playing. I think he has that like little chip on his shoulder where he wants to prove himself, and you can really see that in his game. There's that one play where like it looked like the ball was going out of bounds, and he literally fight tooth and nail just to get it, and it ended up being an assist for Son. So you can clearly see that work rate that he wants, right? Same thing. Right, Reguilon on the left side. I think he's been solid. Like he's also, like I think towards the end, I think he at last season he picked up like an injury, so he wasn't getting a whole lot.
Very good start to last season. Reguilon, one of the best left backs in the Premier League. And of course, had a year Andre waffle on about, Reguilon, he's the best left back in the league. He's better than Luke Shaw. When I've been saying Luke Shaw's a good player. And then towards the end of last season, I kid you not, man put Aaron Cresswell as his main left back for his team of the season picks. And literally everybody else put Luke Shaw. This man refuses to recognize that Luke Shaw is a good player. And he still says that Reguilon is better than Luke Shaw. Just as a Tottenham fan, do you agree with that?
It hurts to say this, but I would take Luke Shaw over Reguilon right now. Especially what he did in the Euros. I was very surprised. And same thing. It looked like when someone wants to like it goes beyond just like you being a good player. It's like when you have to prove something, when you have that extra drive, you can really see that in a player, right? Are you going for that extra run? Right? Are you going for the extra run? Are you going for the extra effort? Maybe if it's going out of bounds, are you pushing it a little bit extra effort? And you can really see Luke Shaw, especially when he had that, like, probably for me, like analyzing me as a player, he had that like really bad injury and he's coming back. He's trying to prove himself. He didn't really have the best of relations when he was with Mourinho, and it looked like he was starting to get that chance. So, like, again, he's trying to prove himself, right? And I think he did really good, and I think he had a phenomenal season.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Kota. Andre, if you're watching this, please, your own fan base is saying it. Just leave it. Leave it, bro. Leave it. Anyways, going back into what we were mentioning about the defense, and look, I actually rate Reguilon. I think there's a very good player in there, and I saw what he did with Sevilla a few seasons ago, and he was phenomenal. And the 30 million, I think, was a right price tag for Tottenham. They were buying a very, very good left back. But regards to the center backs, because I think that's actually where the main problems are. Like, could be some of the center backs that you see now, and you'd say, yeah, definitely one for the future. And looking at some of the others, you're just like, not good enough at all. They need to go out the door.
Yeah, I was really surprised that they actually didn't get any center backs.
And they sold Alderweireld too.
They did, which, I mean, he's been a veteran for the club forever.
Still arguably the best center back, I'd say.
Right. So, I mean, you have Dyer in there, and then I think the main right now is either Dyer and Sanchez. I mean, sometimes he surprises me, but as a player, you have to be consistent, and I think that's something he lacks a lot.
Extremely.
Yeah, and especially if you're the last man, I don't want an inconsistent player. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And shifting into the big signing, or Tottenham's big signing this summer, and this will shift into my my next thing I was going to talk about with you with Tottenham's transfer dealings over the summer. You look at some of the players that they've signed. The biggest signing, £50 million, Christian Romero from Atalanta.
Yeah.
What have your thoughts been on him so far this season? Or do you think he just hasn't had enough game time, settling time to really make a whole lot of judgments yet?
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited about that. I mean, he came off the international game, winning it with Messi, so pretty impressive things. But yeah, I mean, he hasn't played that much, so it's like, okay,
Yeah.
We signed a great player, and if you're not doing much for the club, what does it mean? Like, okay, you look good on paper, but I want points on the board. So not a whole lot to say. We'll see as time goes. I think well, again, he's on international break, so there's that like whole Corona thing where I don't know if he's gonna be able to play again. So that just kind of screws up everything. So yeah, but as a Spurs fan, I'm optimistic. We hope for the best.
Yeah. I mean, seeing what he did for Atalanta last season, I mean, do you like the look of him? Do you think that was just the right choice or the right player to sign there? Do you think Paratici got it right there, or do you think they should have opted for someone else?
Well, if you were, for me personally, Arsenal's new signing Tomiyasu. I don't know if this is biased in any way, because I'm Japanese. I really liked him, and there was a lot of rumors that he was gonna sign.
Yeah, it was him or Emerson. That was basically what it was for the right back slot.
Yeah, either right back or he could also play the center back position. So I was pretty excited about that. But also there was a lot of talks about Christian Romero. And then he said he was going to make a decision after his international spiel. So overall, for me personally, I wanted Tomiyasu. But I'm also happy with the decision that they signed Christian Romero. But we'll see how everything goes and plays out with games coming up. So yeah, pretty excited to see what he can provide for us.
Yeah, definitely. And shifting into the rest of the signings, as I mentioned earlier, Pierluigi Golini, goalkeeper on loan from Atalanta, as mentioned, very promising, young, looks like a bright one for the future. 35 million pounds for Emerson Royal from Barcelona. What was it? It was like 21.7 million pounds plus Eric Lamela for Brian Heel from Sevilla. And as far as I know, I think that's about it in terms of their recruitment this summer. Are you happy with that? And are you happy with those players presented there, or do you think Tottenham definitely need more? And if so, where do they need strengthening on the pitch?
I think their approach what was going in, because if you really look at our just lineup, there is a lot of just age in general. So I think they are trying to revamp the team little by little by putting in a little bit more youth. And there were a lot of veteran players that started shifting away little by little. So by pumping in a little bit of youth players, did really make sense. I think with the transfer and everything, I think this might be your next topic, but with Harry Kane and that whole situation, and maybe the financial gains that they would have gotten, I think they would have had a better transfer market. But one thing led to another, whole spiel back and forth, and I could also go a little bit into detail of that, but I think that also has a big effect on how we're performing right now.
Definitely 100%. And looking at just the areas that maybe Tottenham, or you think Tottenham should strengthen, maybe whether it's in January or the summer window, where do you think they should strengthen as of right now? And for those positions, do you have any idealistic or realistic names that you'd like to see them bring in?
I haven't really dove in too much to see like who. I definitely think with the whole Harry Kane situation, they should at least have another striker
Mhm.
that that can be feasible, a feasible number 2, if not number 1. Definitely, because if Harry Kane doesn't play, there is no true number 9, and Tottenham has been relying so heavily on that type of system and how they play. So definitely need some kind of striker position. The still defense, I would love to see maybe another center back or even a center defensive mid, someone that could just hold it down.
I mean, you have
I think
Højbjerg,
so.
you have, I mean, Oliver Skip's played there. And
I
you
think
have,
Højbjerg has been doing decent. So I would not complain about that at all. But yeah, I guess with Romero not playing, we'll see. I think when he starts playing, we'll find out the real answer if we still need to adjust for defense. But for sure, we do need a striker. We do need another striker.
100%, definitely. And next, if you were Nuno Espirito Santo, right? And basically you have all your players fit and available for the remainder of the season. And a genie comes out and says, no injuries will happen. There will be no seasonal Harry Kane ankle injury. All your players are fit for the rest of the season. Promise, guaranteed. You have the word. Looking at all the players you have at your disposal, what formation, what tactics, and what 11 would you set with for the remainder of the season, assuming that the squad you have is the squad that you have to work with and you're not getting any money in January to spend?
Ooh, great question. I like that. Reguilon, definitely on the left. He has that. On
What
the
formation?
right,
Let's start with formation just so the viewers
formation.
aren't necessarily confused.
For probably just the traditional 4-3-3. Son on the left. I like Son on the left. On the right, it's
Go from back to front. So like start with goalkeeper
Okay.
and then go from back, just so our viewers aren't necessarily confused.
yeah. Goalkeeper Lloris, World Cup winner. Just won with France again, League of Nations, right?
Yeah, the Nations
So,
League. Yep.
there you go, another trophy for his personal gain, but not for us. So maybe he can bring some of that luck to us. You never know. So on the left side, Reguilon. Center backs, we'll see how Romero does. So if he does what he did with his last club, Romero, definitely I would go with Dyer.
Really? Not Tanganga. You have Tanganga, you have Davinson Sanchez, Joe Rodon.
See, so I would prefer to have Tanganga on the right.
But you also have Emerson there. Would you want to?
That is true.
Emerson?
So that's the only thing formation wise. Because I do really think Tanganga can compete with Emerson.
Okay.
But as of right now, I think Emerson has a spot.
Okay. All right. You go with Dyer and Romero, and you have Emerson at right back. And your midfield 3. And are you playing with one holding midfielder and 2 box-to-box, or a midfield pivot, a 6 and an 8 and a 10, or just playing a flat 3?
I think right now they're playing Skip in the holding, and then it's like Højbjerg. And
is that what you would go with? Who would your midfield be?
I mean, Skip has been doing good.
Has been playing well.
Skip, Højbjerg, middle, Nombele. But is he gonna last 90? I don't know. That's the thing.
You also have Giovanni Lo Celso, Dele Alli there. As you said, Tanguy Ndombele for that last spot.
Nombele. It's either Nombele, Dele, maybe Luca.
Lucas Morris a 10. Props.
Maybe, yeah. Honestly, yeah. For me, honestly, I'll go. This is what I'll go. Might be very untraditional. Okay. If being really optimistic, Højbjerg at the 6,
Okay.
Luke at the 10,
Okay.
and Nombele at the 8.
Okay. All right.
I'm being very optimistic.
And your front three, or we'll just do the right wing because you already know the left wing and the striker up front.
Yeah. We have, it's either Steven Bergwijn, Brian Gill, and who else will be there? They're very interchangeable. Is that the front three? It's either between those two, right? Because I put Luke at the 10.
Yeah. Dane Scarlett, perhaps you can fit him in there if you feel like playing him, but
we'll see, man.
Like Dele Alli's been put on the right hand side for whatever reason by Nuno. So I mean, I guess you could play him there, or put Lucas on the right, and then put Dele in the 10 if you want to play Dele. But I mean, that's basically your options because Son and Kane, their places are basically already like established. We all know that.
Yeah, I'll go this. This is what I like. Son on the left. Son on the left, Kane up top, and Bergwijn on the left. I mean, on the right.
All right. Well, there you have it. For
those of Dutch pride, because I'm here in the Netherlands, right here. So.
Yeah. For any of the viewers who are lost and are just severely confused, what on earth did he say is best 11? Well, I'll just go through it one more time. He's going with a 4-3-3, 4 with the 10, with the number 10, or just a 4-2-3-1 with the midfield pivot. Either one is basically the same thing. Lloris in goal, Emerson in the back four, but Emerson, Dyer, Romero, Reguilon. Your midfield pivot of Højbjerg and Ndombele. And an attacking three of Heung-min Son, Lucas Moura, and Steven Bergwijn, and of course Harry Kane up front. Regardless of how long he'll be there, you start Harry Kane. And into important players. Who would you say is your most important player right now? If you had to choose one, because I mean, I think for any Tottenham fan, I think looking at this season, I think they know who. Yeah. But just to always throw out the opinion question, who would you say is your most important player this season?
Hands down has to be my boy Son. Definitely. Just with Kane, I just watching him play too. Like we can't really rely on him anymore. I don't even know if his mind's even at the game or if he's thinking about something else. So yeah, maybe Kane will be the next man. Well, he is the next man up. And we'll see how he handles that. And yeah, definitely he's our most important player.
Hands down. And I was going to ask the question, who's been your best player, but I think that basically already answers your question.
There's another thing what I want to say real quick.
All right.
With this season, with the season he had last season, how is he not in the Ballon d'Or? Like, he should at least be in the nomination for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
just had to say that out there.
I actually agree with that. I actually do believe and agree with that. When you see players like, as well as he played last season, and I love and rate Mason Mount, myself being English, but how Harry Kane did not get on that list over Mason Mount, it's beyond me. I don't really understand that, but that's a topic for another video. And last question specifically on Tottenham, and it's on the main man, the main striker for years and years, Tottenham's all-time leading goal scorer, Harry Kane. Since the back end of last season, there's just been something wrong with Harry Kane. He's basically, and I use this analogy so many times, I'll use it again. I mean, how much he's been wanting this move to Manchester City and how much he's been basically hinting at it. I mean, there's been some serious flirting going on. I mean, it's as if Harry Kane is wearing a short skirt and like red, lip gloss, and is basically doing everything, he can to just flatter the man or whatnot. That's basically what it's been, talking up, it would be a dream to play with Kevin De Bruyne. It would be a privilege to be coached by Pep Guardiola and all that. And I mean, for my personal opinion, I think Manchester City made the wrong signing. As good of a player Jack Grealish is, they needed, in my opinion, out and out number 9. And I think if they had splashed the cash and had paid the 150 million that they were asking for Harry Kane, which after that season he was worth, rightfully so. And I actually agree with Tottenham in the sense that they didn't let him go because he signed a 6-year contract back in 2018. Still has 3 years left. So Tottenham are in no rush to sell. 150 million. For me, that's a perfect evaluation for Harry Kane. It's crazy money, but that's just what the player's worth in today's market. If you're Daniel Levy and you had this whole Harry Kane situation in the summer, and what I heard was Manchester City didn't even come in with an offer even close. Apparently it was like 75 million plus like 25 or 50 million add-ons. Or it was like 100 million plus like 2 players, when you're Raheem Sterling, Aymeric Laporte, Gabriel Jesus, aka Crier, Bernardo Silva. I'm not even joking. I mean, when I look at Gabriel Jesus, that's what the man does. When I look at him, he looks like he's about to go on a long cry. He's about to sob into tears for me. I mean, that's what it looks like. But looking at just Harry Kane situation, what would you have, or what would you do with Harry Kane? Would you, if Manchester City just said, we'll stop beating around the bushes, 150 million pounds, straightforward, here's everything you need, Daniel Levy, here you go. I mean, for Christ's sake, even ice cold Tony Martial has scored more goals than him this season. Martial, ice cold Tony, he scored more goals than him this season. So what would you do with Harry Kane?
It's a tricky situation. I think it's both parties just didn't do so well. City for Grealish for 100, that's, for me, and I think everybody can agree, that's ridiculous. They could have easily used that money for Kane, and then with the leftover money, they probably could have found someone else. I think they should have Harry Kane as their main target. And for 150, I think that is a really good evaluation. You have one of the best strikers in the Prem right now, and he does have a track record.
In the world, not just
in the world. Yeah, in the world. In the world, yeah, definitely can say that. Yeah, and it's a tricky situation because financially, you want to ask for what's best, but at the same time, if your player's not, why would you want? So if I had a team, if I was a coach, why would you want to have a player that doesn't even want to play for you?
Yeah.
Right. So, and you can really see it, and it affects everything. And I see how he's trying to like get it back going, but it's a tough situation. I think in January, for me, I would just pull the plug, to be honest, and just
in January
start fresh.
Not in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, why would you want someone to be at your club? So this is an example. Like, why would you want a virus in your team? Not to say that it's a bad virus anyway.
Don't get me started. Don't start. I'm talking to Kota, not Graham Souness. Don't you even start. I will back him. Look, I will say when he has not been good enough, but don't you start. I've heard enough of it from Graham Souness about his Paul Pogba slander. The man is not a virus. He's just simply assessing his options at the moment. Is he likely to leave? Yes. If he is he likely to leave? Of course he is. He's on the last year of his contract and he's running it down. But until I hear the here we go from Romano, I don't necessarily believe that he's set on leaving. Does Mino Raiola want him to leave? Yeah, of course I do. He's been wanting to get him out of the club since 2019, since back end of 2019, or the start of actually right before the World Cup. He's been trying to do so. But Harry Kane, remember, he came out on Instagram and said, "I'm staying at Tottenham for the season." So you have Harry Kane for the season, bare minimum. But you're saying you would just get him out in January.
Yeah, I think that might be harsh, but just the way things look and with the track record of what Spurs have been doing, unless we win something.
Yeah. Unless if you win something. Those words.
And are we gonna win something? I hope so.
Yeah. You hope. Yeah. Tottenham fans. I mean, yeah. Andre sleeps every night and dreams. I hope we win a trophy one day.
See, so the thing is that the saying is "I hope," and even saying "I hope" is a far reach, right? You have other clubs that are saying we are contending or like we will, you know what I mean? But for us, it's like "I hope." So maybe when what's that new thing? The Confederations. He's doing good there.
Yeah, but I'm saying you get rid of Harry Kane, you spend the money and you sell him on, or get the money, get the 150 million pounds, whether it's somehow in January, which I don't think that will ever happen, in January or the summer. What striker would you bring in as a replacement? Because there's absolutely no way that Daniel Levy will ever let this man go without surely having a replacement on board and ready to go.
Yeah, interesting question. There's not anybody that could replace Harry Kane.
In terms of the legacies left at Tottenham, yes, but I mean, if you look around the world, I mean, you have what's his name from Fiorentina, Vlahovic. He's been terrific.
I've heard of his name. I have not looked into him to see how he's played. Yeah, I mean, the only other replacement, this is very far-fetched, that is at Harry Kane's level, it's either Haaland or Lewandowski. And are we going to get any of those players? No. No,
we're not realistic. No.
So those are like actual like realistic, not realistic, but like
in terms of like on his level, similar.
On his level, exactly. So if someone's going to replace Harry Kane, it's either those two. And we're not going to get those players.
Obviously. Anyways, into the final segment, or the final section or segment of the show, just general questions about the Premier League in general. So,
yeah,
looking at the Premier League, who do you predict from first place all the way to seventh place? Who would be your top four for Champions League football next year? Your two for Europa League, and we know nobody gives two shits about the Europa League, but it's European football. And who would be your one team for Conference League? So the league that was basically made for Tottenham to win a trophy.
Little side dish right there. Definitely number one has to go to Newcastle now.
No, bro, come on. They're not gonna do anything till next season. They're not gonna do anything right away.
First, we'll see. It's one of the Manchester teams. And
They won the league this season.
And so for me, I think, well, I really like the fairy tale story of Ronaldo, and I hope, so yeah, I think United has a great chance.
Do you think Manchester United will win the Premier League this season?
I think they have a good shot, and I would like to see that.
Have you not seen the injury issues that Manchester United have? And have you not seen our defensive midfield issues? Varane injured, Maguire injured, and we're entering arguably like our toughest stretch of games. And I have to see Victor Lindelof back on the side, which doesn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I forgot about that.
And you still have McFred. You still have Matic, whose legs aren't getting any more youthful than they already are. They're still aging.
Yeah, I think it will be one of the Manchester teams, either one or two, if not Chelsea. Chelsea will be in contender.
Liverpool are unbeaten though. They're unbeaten in all games. They haven't lost a single game this season so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I've been sleeping on them. I know Salah's been doing pretty good. So
top four would be. We'll start with that, and then we'll go into 5th through 7th.
yeah, I guess Liverpool. We'll see. For me, yeah. Besides Tottenham, I don't keep super into detail. Manchester.
Just predictions.
Manchester City 1.
Okay.
Chelsea 2.
Okay.
Liverpool 3.
Okay.
United 4.
Okay.
Leicester. And then we'll squeeze in
6 and 7.
Tottenham.
Tottenham at 6. Who would be 7?
I hate Arsenal, so I'm gonna put West Ham.
Love the banter, mate. Who do you think is gonna win the Golden Boot by the end of the season?
Salah for sure.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout at all. Definitely.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be player of the season?
I hope Son, but Salah has a very good chance. I think Ronaldo has a pretty good shot, if not Lukaku. So out of those three right now, it's either between Ronaldo and Salah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I was thinking in the back of my mind too. Like, it's definitely down between those three. But yeah, I actually do think it's either going to be Salah or Lukaku. I don't think Ronaldo will have the players around him to just get him the ball enough. And I just don't see it personally.
You never know, man.
Yeah.
Ronaldo I get surprised from him sometimes. I really do.
Look, I love Cristiano Ronaldo. I love him. I really do. Everyone knows, like, he has a very special place in my heart. But he went to Juventus to win them a Champions League. Didn't do it. He's come to a club whose manager is subpar or bang out. Arguably the most tactically inept manager in the Premier League. I'd probably take almost any other manager over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm not even joking. I honestly would. But into my second to last question, you are cutting out a bit. I'm not gonna lie. In your connection.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I can hear you now. You just keep periodically cutting out from time to time again, but don't worry about it. As long as I hear you, yeah. As long as you're all good, mate. Second to last question. Who, in your opinion, is the best youngster in the Premier League? And when I say youngster, just your reference point. The player basically has have had less than 2.5 seasons of first team football, and it's 21 and under. Because I'm not hearing Trent Alexander-Arnold or Marcus Rashford for best young players. Those players have had years of first team football under their wings. When I say young players, I mean the youngsters. Who, in your opinion, is the best young player in the Premier League?
Could you maybe name me a couple just to remind me?
Sure. So, the players such as Mason Greenwood, Phil Foden, Bukayo Saka, and Emil Smith-Rowe. You have players such as Trevor Chalobah. He's another one coming through at Chelsea this season. Who else you have?
For me, it'll come down either to Foden or Saka.
And if you choose one,
talent wise, if I were to say talent-wise, head-to-head, who's the better player, I would say Foden. Like seeing Foden play is like magic almost. I'm like, wow. Like, I'm surprised he hasn't been starting a lot for the national team.
Well, I mean, for the games that he just played with England, he started both games.
Of course. But I mean, compared to the competition, but he did really well in those games too.
Definitely, 100%. And you mentioned Saka, and for those who watch this show, people know how much I love and adore this kid. I am just beyond jealous. And Manchester United have loads of attackers, but I would sign him anyways. And I'd be willing to get rid of someone like Martial. And I don't want to see Wood or Cavani.
That's not saying much.
I love Bukayo Saka. And specifically bringing him up because I know your great love and affection for Arsenal. How good is Bukayo Saka? And I know you're a Tottenham fan. But I mean, how good is this kid?
He's good. He's good. As much as I hate to say that he plays for the wrong team, he's holding it down for his team, and he's doing a great job at such a young age. And he's also displaying that on his national team too.
Literally carried them on their backs last season, I'd have to say.
Exactly. I mean, like, hey,
a 19-year-old
kid player playing for the bad team just sucks,
Even though the bad team, when they played you, absolutely ripped you apart and dominated that game and won.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, he just plays for the wrong team, but he's a good player. That's all I could say.
Oh, gosh. And my final question before we wrap up the show, who, in your opinion, has been the best goalkeeper in the Premier League so far this season? Not necessarily like losing the best team, because I'm not trying to hear, it's Alisson or Ederson. Who, in your opinion, when you look at the goalkeepers this season and just their overall performances, and sure, you could say if a goalkeeper or teams concede a lot of goals, but they have a goalkeeper, maybe isn't always down. It's not necessarily due to the goalkeeper. It's just the defense in front of him just not being good enough at all. Who, in your opinion, would you say is like the standout goalkeeper so far this season?
I have not looked into the competition. I do know De Gea saved United really one game.
Villarreal.
But I haven't seen his other. I haven't really kept up with him too much. To be honest, I don't have an answer for you. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll throw mine out. Daveye has had a spectacular start to the season. The goals Manchester United have conceded have been horrendous defensive errors and losing balls in the midfield. Emi Martinez of Aston Villa, he's just showing how good he was last season, and he's so class. Nick Pope for Burnley. This is literally one of the reasons why they're still in the Premier League. They're still in the Premier League after so many years. Edouard Mendy of Chelsea, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. E for me is the reason why Chelsea won the Champions League last season, or one of the main reasons, apart from Conte refinding his form. Same with Jorginho, Rudiger becoming amazing. Alisson, Ederson, I'm not saying they don't have ability. They are very good goalkeepers, but you also look at the defense in front of them, and you look at the midfields in front of them, protecting them. So, for me, that's what I'd say. Kota, anything else to say before we wrap up today's show?
No, thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it. Question for you. Do you think any of the Premier League teams that are playing right now have a shot at winning the Champions League?
Absolutely, 100%. Throw Chelsea, Liverpool, and I hate to say it, but Manchester City, they still looking at the squad they have and the depth they have, still look like a contender, but it's Manchester City. But I'm not gonna say they're never gonna win anything in the champion. They're never gonna win a Champions League, because they somehow go on and win the Champions League next year. That will just get clipped and thrown in a bunch of memes. So I'm not gonna say that, but
Yeah.
They're up there, definitely up there. But Chelsea, Liverpool need more depth. I think if anyone from the Premier League, it's definitely Chelsea. They have the squad, the coach, quality of players. But yeah, what about you?
I just, it's really interesting because I don't think there's a favorite right now. I don't think there is one favorite right now, so it's very interesting. I don't know exactly who. In previous time, you knew like exactly like who had the best shot. It was either City or Liverpool one year or another, and then you keep going back, and it was one of those Spanish teams. So, yeah, we'll see really interesting stuff. We'll see how things go in France and if PSG can maybe win it and if maybe a Premier League team will get in their way. But yeah, very interesting. I'm very excited to watch the Champions League, especially because I'm here in Europe now, and then the culture is like I'm able to watch it at night, so I can go out to bars. Yeah, the atmosphere is amazing. Ajax is literally down the street, so whenever Ajax game,
That's awesome.
Ajax Champions League game happens, man, this whole town goes crazy. So yeah, we'll see. Exciting stuff.
Definitely seems very exciting. And anyways, thank you so much for watching this today. If you love seeing this brilliant young player in the making, and also if you've really enjoyed seeing the Japanese Mikel Arteta, trust Kota's process. Please trust his process. I've trusted his process. For those who don't know, he coached me when I was a while younger, and for many years I trusted his process, and look where I am now in college. But banter aside, please smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know if you agree with Kota or not with Tottenham and his just overall predictions of the Premier League this season. And please, wherever you're watching this, have a great day or evening.